Hey guys, so this episode is one of those special ones where we get to talk all about the latest crypto narrative DePIN. So we have Will, who is super deep in the DePIN narrative, pardon the pun, joined us to shed light on what this is all about. He's also co-host DePIN Daily, which talks all about how the real-world infrastructure rewards participants using blockchain technology in a decentralized manner. So, get comfortable and let's deep dive into DePIN. Hey everyone, welcome to another amazing podcast. Because it is amazing because of the guests that we have, and their stories and everything else. So, Will, thank you so much for joining us again. And it's going to be this is our frequent podcast about the a few narratives at the moment going on. We have the mem narrative, the mem5 we call it, right?
Yeah.
And then we had the whole DePIN RWA narrative as well. So this time the cycle is a little bit different. So what we have done is like we have so the relationship that we have built, now we are just cashing them out by asking our guests to come on board and then share their knowledge and experience with our community. Right. So, Will, again, thank you so much. What's the time over there now? Like
it is currently 6 p.m. 6 p.m. So it's not super late. I just finished up some things over here. We're gonna have some dinner with the dogs soon, and then just kind of wrap it up for the day.
Oh my God, man. Been like on jumping from one space to another space. So everything everything on fire, man. So without talking too much about other things, I just want to just pass the mic to you. Let's start with consensus. I saw so many posts, like everyone is like super hyped about the event, and this time I see like it has taken a little bit different. Sort of the vibes are a little bit different. I guess it's different cycles, right? And you expect things to be a little bit different. So off you go, Will.
Consensus was great. It was my very first time going. I will say that out of all the IRL events I've been to, Consensus was definitely more professional. There was a lot more traditional finance there. There was a lot more RWA and DePIN stuff there than I was actually really expecting. I was expecting a lot more exchanges. I was expecting a lot more just like, maybe some gaming stuff here and there, maybe some political figures talking, which they had all of that, but at the forefront of it all, I walked around and you couldn't avoid an RWA or DePIN stand. Like they were everywhere. And the cool thing was there was a crowd around each of them. There's like so many people interested in asking questions and talking and just like really just digging in and like figuring out what is DePIN, what is RWA. And it was beautiful to see because I saw a lot of projects that I've talked to in the past just showcasing their ideas and showcasing their products, and it was beautiful. It was just beautiful to see. It made me super bullish on both those narratives, and just being able to meet these people face to face was just an excellent thing.
That's awesome. I mean, like, look, given this is your first consensus, what your expectations were, and going into consensus, and then coming out of it, are you a changed man?
Changed man, I would say, a little bit. I would say my insights changed a lot because, again, my expectations were, I've been at NFT NYC about 2 or 3 times now, and I know what IRL events look like, and this did not look like NFT NYC. This looked like something that I would, this looked like a Web2 convention. This looked like a standard professional, hey, let's network, let's mingle, let's hang out outside, maybe get some lunch kind of thing, like very business professional convention with some like fun sprinkled in there, of course. And so that's what made me way more like kind of bullish on these two narratives and just crypto in general. Realizing that these markets are finally kind of maturing and finding their place in the world, or in the world of finance and in the world in general.
I mean, just before we started, Will, you just mentioned a couple of organizations, 3-letter organizations that we normally don't see in. I don't know whether I never been to NFT NYC, or NYC NFT, right?
You don't see them there. You don't see them there, no.
Right. So, who were they? Like the mainstream, like corporations and government agencies. What were their messages all about?
Okay, so I was shocked. I wasn't shocked necessarily, but I was kind of surprised. I would say in a sense of like a really good surprise that there was so much traditional finance there. Like there was at least several panels with proponents or with digital asset employees or digital asset like legs of companies there, like Goldman Sachs, Citibank, who else? JP Morgan, like they were all there, and they just had digital asset like employees talking about their view on digital assets and how they're incorporating them into their business model. And it was half of it was stuff I've heard before, but then the other half was really interesting. So on one of these panels, you had all these major banks up there talking about like their view and how a lot of it differed. It was very interesting. Like I think JP Morgan talked about, oh, we believe private blockchains will kind of be the way to go, or like, private blockchains linked with Ethereum or linked with Solana will be the way that we move forward. And then Citibank's talking about their Avalanche subnet, of course, and they're talking about how they're bullish on subnets for kind of the same reasons that JP Morgan was. Goldman Sachs is a bit more general. They were very, hey, listen, like we believe that everything's going to be tokenized, kind of like what Larry Fink's talking about. And it's kind of some of the stuff I've heard before on Spaces from them, but just seeing them talk about it in person as well as kind of give some like sly remarks about like their kind of like, hey, listen, like this is what's happening, like hey, pay attention, buy our stock, please, buy our stock. It was definitely it was really interesting to see like their perspectives, and then the SEC and the CFTC were there too. So you had Hester Pierce, she's a member of one of the chairwomen of the SEC, and I forgot the woman's name that was part of the CFTC that was there, but they both had a good conversation about like their view on governing, on like regulations around crypto and blockchain, and that was really neat to hear. And then I believe the third panel was the IRS, which unfortunately I only got to walk by because I was like heading to the airport to go to my bachelor party.
Oh yes,
I did get to see that they were there talking about the IRS's plans on like progressing with the taxation of digital assets and whatnot. So that was just really fascinating to see because at NFT NYC, you don't see these people. You don't see these people talking about their thoughts. And the one thing I was super pleased to see was during a lot of these panels, it was a packed crowd, except for the IRS one. The IRS one was very boring and no one
would get caught, mate.
Exactly. Everyone's anonymous. No caught paying taxes.
Big bubble around them as they're walking through.
But for this SEC one and the banking and the traditional finance one, it was a packed audience. You couldn't seat everyone, and I was like, this is great. There's like so many people catching on to the fact that, hey, listen, TradFi's here. They're here to stay, and they're going to help push the space forward.
I mean, like JP Morgan, the CEO always said that, like, they are not into crypto, but they're big believers on the blockchain side of things, right? So the technology. So I guess
Onyx. I mean, Onyx is a big part of their company now. Like, it's their Ethereum compatible private chain, and they got JP Morgan coin, which it sounds like a joke when you hear it, but it's real.
Yes.
and the link protocols are
that's right. Yeah.
LIINK.
I love that. I love how it's just like hey, well, here's our Oracle. It's called Link, and it's like I bet Andre was just like, come on, dude, really?
Like, yeah. We cloned your repo and just set up our one.
Yeah. But good on them. I mean, it's good that seeing those big corporations like TradFi people like taking interest, but like anything else, right? So I always use wine when I want to compare these type of people, because in the crypto space you got the purist, like in the wine space you have sommeliers, right? They don't have time for anyone who just drink wine or the box wine people, right? And then you have the other people who are like the bell curve, like in the middle part, they just want to get pissed, right? And same thing, they just want to DJ in the middle. And then you got the other stuff like, what, I just don't really know what I'm doing, and I'm just doing it, So I think when you look at this one, you will need these TradFi people as well as the purist as well, I think. And then the people in the middle has get the best of both worlds, and they get fight on, and then they come with a really good ecosystem, I would say. Just like looking at wine, we need sommeliers. and we need the box drinker, so that middle, the bell.
You need everyone to come together. You need everyone to kind of come together and create that like middle of the road, like that kind of compromise, because without compromise, where are we going to go? It's just going to be a bunch of back and forth.
Correct. Correct. Exactly. So, go ahead.
Will, what hidden gem did you find at Consensus, mate? Like something that you hadn't found out on Twitter, or you didn't know much about, and one of those stands there that sort of took your interest.
Honestly, it's someone I'm talking to pretty soon. I scheduled a interview with them because I was so fascinated by the idea. But they're called Hivello. It's Hivello, and I've always been complaining about there's no aggregator of all these DePINs, because there's so many different DePINs, and it's hard to manage all of them separately in these different apps. And so I was like, okay, like I wish there was an app that would manage all these DePINs, and that's what Hivello is. And it's pretty interesting. It's an interesting concept. I haven't personally used the platform. I'm still doing a lot of research on it, but the idea was interesting enough that I wanted to talk to the founder. And so him and I have a call scheduled. I wasn't able to meet up with them in person, unfortunately, because I had to catch my plane for my bachelor party. But they wanted to talk in person, and I was like, hey, listen, I can't leave. I can't talk on Friday. I have to go. Like, I'm sorry. So let's talk it virtually. So I'm definitely going to look out for them on my channel. I'm going to release that video and whatnot when it comes out, when I'm done, editing and everything. But I'll be talking.
Your bachelor party?
What's up?
Of your bachelor party, or
my bachelor party? No, those days, those videos, those photos, they stay locked in a different folder labeled taxes. Ever again. But yeah, no, Dominic from Hivello, he's a great guy. I definitely that piqued my interest a lot. And there was another one I've been talking to recently named Daba Network, DABBA, and it's a DePIN Wi-Fi provider, and they're based out of India. And it's really neat because they clearly outline a problem that a lot of India has, and that is that they don't have good internet connection.
Are you looking to integrate your business systems with cutting-edge AI technology? Our expert team is here to help you use the power of AI to innovate, streamline, and enhance your current business operations. Contact us today at 1-800-870-200 or visit blockstars.com.au.
And they're paying lots of money for just really bad internet connection. And so what they do is they have these like routers and providers that like basically agree to, provide this connection via, their kind of like, if you sign up to buy a router from them and you then have good internet, you can like share the internet with other people and so on and so forth. And so it's kind of providing an equitable and cheap way to provide internet to a lot of people who need it out there. And that was really neat meeting them. And they have plans on spreading across the world at some point. But for now, they're based solely in India, I believe.
Yeah. I think because he's going to look at that aggregator after this, because you've got quite a few things going on.
Yeah. I mean, like when Will said that, this aggregator peaked his interest. Peak is like on the blockchain at all.
I got to meet a lot of Peak people too, man. That was really cool. Meeting a lot of people from Peak. Yes, a lot of different communities from Peak. I attended all the DePIN side events that they hosted, and it was just really awesome meeting the team.
Yeah, I think we really need to have a catch up with the Peak team, because I think Scott, he's from Peak as well, right?
Yeah, he works. He's their head of growth.
So
they're like
growth, how to catch up with Scott to get a sort of an insight on Peak and what they're doing, and would love to hear.
Hey, that TG is coming out pretty. Their token events coming out soon. I tried to get a date out of them. They wouldn't tell me. I was like poking them. I was like, "Come on, like when's the public stage?" And I was like, "Come on, just like give me like say I'm low or say I'm high. Is it like first?" They're like, I can't say.
I mean, like, look, it's becoming with ecosystem, especially if you talk about like with a little bit touch about Peak, right? And that's just like like we have what you call Chainlink, and it has its own ecosystem. We have Peak, and bringing up all this ecosystem as well. I think it's how we need to get someone to really talk about how that Peak is built, the ecosystem, but it's like a sort of a modularized system, so that it's built for the purpose, scalability and all that. And I think with that one, create that super really cool ecosystem that anyone can build, and that brings value. Like we're going to talk about a little about Silencio a little bit later on, and I think having that type of like high frequency, high transactional platforms built on an ecosystem, that definitely going to bring value to the.
I think a blockchain built specifically for a task or for like a type of project to thrive, I feel like is just so necessary when it comes to something like DePIN and RWAs, because you do have DePINs building on Solana. That's great. But Solana is always going to be more of like a general use chain, just like Ethereum, where like everyone's using it. And so you run into issues of scalability when that happens, because now it's more geared towards the general use, not the specific needs of your project. Whereas Peak is like, hey, listen, we're geared to the specific needs of all the resources you need for your thing to thrive. And so I feel like Peak is just really ahead of the curve in that regard. And you do have several other blockchains out there that are geared towards DePIN and RWAs, and they're doing just fine as well. Lots of projects are growing on them, and so I feel like this will be kind of the new narrative for DePINs and RWAs to really grow on. But aside from RWAs, such as like financial securities and whatnot, I feel like those will definitely be more on general chains or omni-chain. Rather than like Ex Machina is a really good example. They have tokenized bartending robots. It's like where else are you gonna do that? That's like, are you gonna do that on Ethereum? No, you're gonna do it on Peak.
Yeah. I mean, like you had the RWAs. That's a whole different sort of the I would say another part of it. But on this side, we had the machine RWAs, right? The MRWAs that are related to the DePINs, and on this side, like machine RWAs, like all the cars and weather channels and all, or weather systems and things like that in the space. So cool. Alrighty. So let's jump into our next part of the conversation. Is Will's bachelor party.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be short. It's gonna be a short conversation.
I don't remember. I don't remember
the whole time. I used Silencio the whole time. They know everything that happened. I don't.
So we'll say it was a really good time, and everything else is classified.
Literally. That's all I'll say. The soup was good.
So one of the things that I saw, Will, that you passed, like I kept on, at the consensus, one of your tweets that you put out there, not tweets, or not, now they call it X posts, right? They don't call it tweets anymore. That you said that, I keep on bumping to these guys everywhere I go. So can you just give us a little bit about who are they, and what they're all about, and I think it's a shrapnel team, I believe.
Oh yeah, Shrap House. So every time I go to an event, I don't know why, but I always run into the Shrapnel crew at least once, or like just like I end up at their. They usually rent out a big home for all their content creators that make content about the game, and they just have they film content there. They have parties there. It's really awesome. And when I was in Miami and Art Basel, that's when I first met them, and I somehow ended up at their house, and I was like, oh my goodness, this is really cool. And then this is the second time that's happened. Now, the other times I've only run into the team like out and about before, but this time was really cool because I actually went to go see Joe Rogan live at his comedy club, the Comedy Mothership in Austin, Texas. And I couldn't bring my backpack in. I had my backpack in, and my friend Kayla, she was so thoughtful. She was like, "Hey, listen, I'll hold your backpack. You go to see Joe Rogan, have fun, and we'll link up later." And I said, "Cool." So we go in, Scott and I and some people from Peak, we go in to watch Joe Rogan. It was awesome, hilarious show. We get out. It's like it's not super late, but it's like kind of late. And I hit up Kayla and I'm like, hey, like, where are you? And she's like, oh, we're at a house party. Like, here's the address. You should come by. And I said, cool. So I took, what's it called? There was a Web3 DePIN app called Teleport. And it's a Web3 Uber. Like it's a Web3 Uber where people like there's no central company that owns the protocol, and about 85% of the funds go back to the drivers. So now drivers are getting way more of a exactly. I can't believe I didn't start this conversation with Teleport. Teleport was a big part of Consensus. That they're only doing Austin, Texas, I think right now. Okay, but it is the app works extremely well. The prices were pretty much the same as Uber, if not cheaper. And the fact that 85% of the funds went to the drivers made me feel like way better about using it. And it was safe too. It was like super safe, like easy to use, just like you would Uber. Like I called the thing on Teleport. It told me who the driver was, what their license plate was, what the car was, all that stuff. And they were running a promotion for Consensus, so it was kind of like their soft launch, and it was awesome. So I'll just say Teleport.xyz, incredible project. I hope they thrive. Anyways, I called the Teleport, and they had a Tesla Cybertruck pick me up. It was so cool. I was like, there's no way a Cybertruck's coming to get me. That's what it said on my phone. And it pulls up, and I'm like, oh my God, this is great. So I get in the Cybertruck, and we pull up. I kid you not, there's like 5 Shrapnel content creators or 5 gaming content creators just hanging outside the Shrapnel house. I didn't know this was a Shrapnel house at the time.
Yes.
And I kind of suspected it was when I saw the people I saw. And I was like, oh my goodness, is that Maddox? Oh my goodness, is it, like, yeah, whatever. Anyways, I get out of the truck, and they're all just looking at me. They're like, who is that? Are you gonna have a Cybertruck? Pull up in style. And I was like, yeah, man, what can I say? I pretty much own the joint. Playing it off. I was like, yeah. And the funniest part was the truck just sped off like so quickly. Like, just peeled out. I was like, oh my goodness. So that was really cool. That was a highlight of my night. And then so we walk up, and there, sure enough, it's the Shrap house. And I was like, oh my God, Shrapnel house. Holy crap. I was just like commenting on your post today. And I met all the team again. Icy was there. Icy and I are like becoming best buds, man. I love that guy. And got myself a tank top, a Shrapnel tank top, and it was awesome, man. It was really cool.
Mm-hmm. So go ahead.
Just back to the teleport and the
I was gonna say,
what was it like jumping in? Because you jump into a taxi or an Uber, and if the driver starts talking about Bitcoin, that's previously been a top signal. But with the Cybertruck, I feel like those drivers would already be into crypto. So does that conversation flow, and it's not a top signal within Teleport, or?
It was about 50-50, honestly. I was kind of shocked. I thought they'd all be into crypto, but a lot of these drivers were just like flagged by Teleport, and they said, hey, you want to like make some more money than you normally do? And they said, cool. Yeah. And they had no idea it was a crypto project, because Teleport is so seamless. You pay with cash. You pay with credit cards, Apple Pay, cash. You don't really operate with crypto and except for the trip mile points. So there's a reward system on there that gives you NFTs based on how much you ride with the protocol. And so like they'll just gift you a bunch of NFTs, like these really cool like gimmicky NFTs that you're like, hey, listen, look, I'm tier 26, level 26 on Teleport. I've been riding with them so much, and it was kind of a cool way to gamify it. But other than that, there's not really any crypto elements. It seems like it's a fairly straightforward app. You sign up, they take your information. If you want to be a driver, you got to go through the background checks. Still, you got to go through all that stuff, insurance and all that. Which I think the 15% that they don't take goes to all that. It funds all that. So the 85% that's sitting there goes straight to the driver, obviously. But yeah, I was really nervous that the drivers would show me crypto projects. Like they're like, oh, buy my NFT. Hey, by the way, you want to buy my NFT collection on Solana? And I was like, oh boy, here we go. But no, that didn't happen. That did not happen to me. I rode Teleport about 10 times during that whole trip. It did not happen one time for me. I did hear someone shill Link though. They're shilling Chainlink. On one of my friend's drives. They were like, yeah, my driver was talking about Chainlink and why he's so bullish on it. And I was like, oh, cool. But that's it. It was great.
I'm thinking that moment when the car pulls up and it's Iggy Azalea there to drive you to your destination.
That would be pretty wild. I'd say, hey, you don't even have to drop me off. Let's just keep going. Let's hang out.
No, that's all. Yeah, I was curious as well with the Teleport, because I haven't come across. I guess are they must be like very new, right? Because if they're just launched in Austin,
they're only in Austin, I believe, and they plan on coming to Florida pretty soon. But they're so new that they're not even allowed at airports. Like they can drop you off at airports, but they can't pick you up at airports because airports deal with.
They don't have the. Yeah. I mean, look, it's Uber already went through the glass door, right? And now people who are coming behind them, it's like they already got some sort of a roadmap ahead of them. They know like, okay, what to do, what not to do, and how much they can bend certain rules and license.
Yeah, well, the Uber TV series.
Oh yeah,
there's an Uber TV series.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, it's about the
how the Uber
startup and the challenges they went through and how they overcome it.
Yeah.
What is it, like Super Pumped?
Yeah, super
Pumped. It's actually a really good watch and quite funny.
It's on Netflix?
not Netflix. It must be on maybe
Amazon or something.
Amazon Prime. Maybe
We need like a
Amazon
Web3 TV service at this point. This is ridiculous. Having to run like
there must be one, right? I mean, if
I think Theta was technically one or is one.
Yeah.
Theta, I think. I don't know, but I don't really use it. So who knows? Who knows if that means it's successful or not if I don't use it. But I just sent you the link to Teleport, by the way, on the Blockstars Twitter.
Oh, nice.
I just sent you a link to their Twitter so you can check them out later. But yeah, great app, honestly. Very seamless to use. Like I said, they just had a soft launch and they're planning on expanding. And I've heard of other Web3 Ubers that are like in the works right now. I believe one of them is called InRide, but I haven't heard of any apps that you can use until this. Like Teleport did a great job advertising, great job launching on the week of consensus, knowing a bunch of crypto people are going to be there.
That would be there, right?
Yeah, and I think they're doing great. They're honestly doing very, very well. So I'm excited for them to proliferate because I feel like drivers are kind of sick of getting abused by these companies. Uber and Lyft kind of taking more of the cut and not being able to see a lot of those funds. When in essence, I don't need a company running things in the middle. That's the whole nature of DePIN is you don't need a lot of these companies doing these tasks. You don't necessarily need as much of that bureaucracy in the middle, as much of that overhead as you do. So why not automate everything with smart contracts and protocols and have a little bit of overhead, like have a little bit of
operational costs,
exactly, operational costs, reduce it as much as possible, and then automate the rest with smart contracts. Call it a day.
Yeah. I mean, like when you think about it, like all our services, everything what we do day in, day out, when you think about it, that's a beauty of DePIN, right? Because whatever you do, you can always look at, how you can, distribute the wealth among the public in what you do. And I feel like more like the companies will dissolve and people almost will become, the company will spread among people. It's almost like the taxi company, the smart service company, or, my thing is like,
kind of like the gig. Sorry for cutting you off. It's kind of like the gig economy theory. It's like
yes.
Oh my goodness, I don't know what that was. Sorry, I just got a phone call or something.
That was a very strong sort of center.
Oh, this is I think who? No. I think Nathan is playing a video.
Oh, yeah, I think he is. Yeah, come on, Nathan. What are you doing?
Video, mate.
Nathan, what are you doing?
Teleport, and he's just browsing through.
I was like, I'm hearing about Teleport right now. This is interesting. I love this.
At least Nathan is keen. We are keen.
You need a little bit of humor in podcasts, a little bit of fun. So Nathan, thank you for bringing the fun in the podcast. But I feel like, in the future, I've heard this before talked about where it's like, hey, in the future, people aren't going to have standard jobs. It's all going to be gig based. It's all going to be like, hey, you are your own LLC, you are your own company, and you'll have a phone, you'll have like an app, and all of a sudden you'll get hit up with like, 6 or 7 requests to do work. And it's like, hey, do you want to do work on this project? And we'll hire you for X amount of dollars for 5 weeks. And it's like, all right, cool. And you'll say yes or no. And it's going to be a lot more of a choice driven economy where I'll have a certain set of skills that are desirable and I'll be given certain tasks to do. I won't be a full-time employee because that way I can choose to take off work whenever I want to, or, whenever I want to take 5 months off and not do anything, I have the option to do that. I just feel like that's a more equitable way to run things, and we'll be able to do so with things like DePIN as well, because you'll have that kind of equitable share of the markets and profits all being spread out to a lot more people.
Yeah. I think the challenge will be on this is the AI agents, how that part really get integrated into the DePIN. I mean, I think there's nothing wrong with, say, for example, my AI agent doing some of the things behalf of me, but then the service provider's agent interacting with my agent to work things out. I think that will be quite normal. And I think last time we spoke about getting owning a piece of another robot's the bar. The robot.
Yeah, ex machina. Yeah, owning pieces of a bartender. Yeah, it all makes a lot more sense too. And like on the AI agent point, I do foresee that being like the the kind of climax of where AI goes for us. Like we're all going to have a personal AI assistant that is applies to us, that helps us on all of our everyday tasks and just kind of everyday doings. And I feel like that's going to end up being the future. And if we can decentralize that anyway and not be subject to like Apple or Google strictly, I feel like that is the future we really should strive for. And that's why I'm so bullish on DePIN.
Are you planning to launch a blockchain project? At Blockstars, we specialize in developing blockchain projects from your initial idea to the final product. To launch your successful blockchain project, drop us an email to hello@blockstars.com.au. Yeah, I think that's what this DePIN is going to do, right? It's going to democratize a lot of these services, and that's why I'm interested, and I really, getting my hands dirty with the DePIN is because I feel like, look, this is going to really help. Are you planning to launch a blockchain project? At Blockstars, now specialize in developing blockchain projects like from your initial idea to the final jobs. To launch your successful blockchain project, drop us an email to hello@blockstars.com.au. But there's a few people who get to enjoy these jobs and have a earning, but then there's a subset of population that are super smart. They have very intelligent in their own ways, but not sort of what mainstream call intelligence. And they are missing out on a lot of these opportunities. By having DePIN type of ecosystem, going to bring so many opportunities for so many people. And guess what? I think what we call the wave lift all the boats, right?
Oh, yeah, the DePIN tide lifts all boats. Yeah,
all boats, right? And that is what I am so bullish about. I think this is what this technology, the whole blockchain economy and the social impact, and that's what I am really interested in this space. And
allowing for other people to make money, like allowing for people to tap into these markets that we weren't able to tap into them before. Like there was no way to do it, and allowing us to be able to like kind of diversify our income streams as well. Sorry for cutting you off though. I saw you started talking.
No, 100%. No, man. Go ahead. And I just want to say something like, I was over the weekend, maybe what 3 weekends or so, right? I was doing my normal, my shopping, traveling with my wife, as I, recently started doing over the weekends. She loves the changed man, and I said, I only need 15 seconds.
I love going out all of a sudden, honey. It's like, yeah, baby, let's go. Actually, let's go try out that new place we haven't been.
Yeah.
I haven't checked in. I mean, we haven't gone there yet.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And so, going there now, I'm like sitting there, and then one of the another, I would say partners, husbands, we all sit, you can just see like people are sitting there, and it's all men sitting in one place where women doing their shopping, right? So, and I was just there, keep on like, tapping in around the places where I'm checking in, right, in the center. And then it's like, oh, what is that game? And I'm like, oh, it's a really cool game. You should check this one out, right? So I onboarded him with using my referral code, right?
Oh my
and
God,
and and those, I think it's pretty cool. I mean, like that's an experience that, and then we had a chat about like, oh, what is this, and he doesn't know about anything but blockchain, nothing like that. And I'm like, look, you don't need crypto. Just like, this is like good fun. I mean, like what you're doing is you're providing data, and it's got noise pollution, and there'll be some benefits down the line. So I gave him my contact as well to a stranger. I said, look, if you need any, if you have any questions, just ring me. I'm more than happy to walk you through that, and
Nice.
and that's cool. You know what I mean? So I feel like, and that's fantastic for Silencio, because it's the easiest way to onboard people into a whole DePIN technology without nothing apart from your phone that you carry every single day, everywhere.
Exactly. It's a software DePIN. I've always been very bullish on software DePINs because it is incorporating something you already own. It's a cell phone, And so things like Nadix and things like Silencio, things like Nodl, like those DePINs are, I see them proliferating very well because it's technology that we all carry in our pockets, and we don't have to co-opt some new piece of tech into our lives. Where I do think hardware DePINs will thrive and do very well. I just think that mass adoption comes from people just downloading an app on the phone.
Yeah.
And I think the phone is getting a lot better now, right? I mean, a lot of things are getting built in the hardware, getting super advanced. We think about the chips. The chips, I mean, like the silicon chips. They are getting advanced, and it's all a constant evolvement. So I think a lot of these DePINs, like whatever the hardware is, probably that will get so slowly phased out. So unless they're like very specific hardware, like sort of weather stations and things like that, I think most of that will get built into the phone. Like, for example, if there's a DePIN for air pollution, for example, I'm pretty sure that will get built into the phone, because that the phone carries everywhere. You got a mic and sound and everything, and putting just like a little thing to check air purification or not air pollution. It's not that hard, I would say.
Yeah, same thing with natives too. Like you have your camera on your phone. I can now map. I can map streets now with an app called Natives. All I need is a camera mount. I need a phone mount for my car, and those cost like $10. Like I can just buy that, stick it on my car, put my camera up, and now I'm mapping and making money. I'm like collecting points. So I just think that's a really easy way to onboard, as well as collect that valuable data that we've talked about before. In noise pollution, such an interesting one. Like that's why I love Silencio so much, because it's a market that no one really thinks about. And then you look into it and you're like, oh my God, there's billions of dollars here that I didn't even know existed. And there's a need for it. And now there's a way to collect it like and more abundance and more accuracy, with more abundance and more accuracy than ever before. And I feel like that, and being able to reward people with tokens, aka money, for their efforts is just, it's so amazing that it's able to happen. Like you're able to pass on these profits that like start at at the very tippy top, billions of dollars flowing in from Zillow, from Airbnb, from city governments, and then all of a sudden it flows right on down to the little guy like me.
And then if we just let's talk. This is a really good segue to like a little bit dive a little bit deep into the Silencio ecosystem. So Will, you did an amazing video on Silencio, right? And I thought I knew, but then you did a whole breakdown on the math and I'm like, oh, actually, you earn a little bit more when you look at all this stuff, because I'm like, okay, no, this is the flat thing that you earn 0.5, and oh, actually no, but you start layering your earnings, right? So then it's like, oh, you know what? It's worth doing this over this, And I had to say, like, I'm a check-in person. I'm not a walking person, so I just go, because it's easy for my wife. You
got to combo them, Kazi. You got to combo them. You got to park at the very end of the parking lot. Turn on your phone, turn on the app, walk the longest way around in the parking lot, and then check in at the end of it.
If I do that one, good. If I do that one, I had to do a limousine service my wife, because she's not going to walk that far.
My fiance doesn't. She's like, drop me off at the front. You can walk as fast as you want.
Right.
I'm like, all right, cool. Now, I do. I literally drop her off at the store or the restaurant we're going to. I park as far away as possible, and then I walk all of the line.
All the way back.
I do a zigzag. I walk through all of the ways of the parking lot. I look like a complete maniac. I'm just like wandering around with my phone out. But I'm just collecting all the hexes though when I do that. And I'm just like, they're all mine, man. They're all mine.
Oh my God.
So I don't know about you guys, but will your guys' wives drive through the car park for 5-10 minutes just to get the spot closer to the door? That's what my wife does anyway. So try to get her to park back.
That's why I drive all the time. I refuse to let her do that. I say, no, I'm driving at the very end and I'm walking through and getting all the juicy hexes that aren't picked up yet, because I'm on the map. And now I got her on Silencio too, mind you. So now she's like starting to catch on. She's like, oh, you forgot a hex over here. I'm going to run over there and get it first. And she'll run and beat me to it parking. And I'm like, no, come back. That's my hex. No, funny. It's
my God.
Hilarious.
Look, that brings a whole nother element to the partnership.
Competitive.
Another way to keep husband and wife.
I see her doing it all. She works next to the university in town, and so the university is. I've been trying to map it out, but the Grand Campus is very big, and so I'll like head over there to see her for lunch sometimes, and I'll walk through the university and map out some X's. But now I'm noticing on the map there's like more hexes being discovered. And I looked at her, I'm like, is that you? And she's like, it might be. And I'm like, okay, so now I have more competition by the university. Great.
Get me a security pass so I can walk in.
Literally. Oh my goodness.
One thing I noticed using Silencio is that when I compare Silencio's map to Google Maps, they're different. So I feel like the locations or the check-in or the businesses that it finds are different in Silencio. So I'm pretty sure that they're using a different mapping platform. Not Google. So what is, and you met the people, and I mean, like, what are they doing? I mean, they got massive investment, and I think they're doing, there's some really cool stuff happening in this, right?
Coming in now for sure. But which is great for them. I think that it's well deserved. In terms of the map being used, if I recall, it's not Google. It is it's Mapbox. They're using Mapbox.
Mapbox. Yeah.
And I'm not very familiar with Mapbox, but I know that it's worked so far. It's worked very well. I can't speak to the updated venues, however, on Mapbox, because I am noticing that certain businesses that have been out of business for like quite some time in my area are popping up on my venue check-ins with a brand new business in that place. When I'm checking into the venue, I know that business is no longer there, but I know that referencing the same building I'm in, though. And I'm like, okay, so like it's not inaccurate if I check in, but at the same time, this business title is not accurate. So I wish there was a way to update that in the app and like, kind of put in something and say, hey, listen, like that has to be changed. But I feel like that's more of an API issue on Mapbox's part, and so I feel like there needs to be some way to maybe communicate that with them, or maybe you link up with Natix or HiveMapper more and have that their mapping protocols fused into Silencio, thus creating a fresher, more accurate map combined with the hex mapping on Silencio.
Yeah, and I think even that so look, Mapbox now could use that Silencio's network to update and then reward and reward the people who are doing that.
Exactly.
And, last time we spoke about Google Maps and how this one car has to go around, or the person has to go around and map the thing, and it's just we rely on that one person. But now constant changes, constant updates. I mean, like, we know what business has gone through over COVID and all the different, our current economy doesn't help either, right? Especially in the hospitality side of things. And it's really good to get like what is current and also what you want to make sure. I think given the number of people who are submitting the data, you can always work out what is, just like how they're doing with the noise, They can have like a venue, verification type of deal, and that will get their, latest update onto their side. So it's beneficial for everyone.
No, I completely agree. And eventually when these decentralized maps become more sophisticated and built out, I feel like you're going to see a lot more companies using their APIs in more commonplace. Like instead of Google Maps, you'll see like at the very corner of your app, HiveMapper or or Natix or something as provided by Natix or HiveMapper. And I feel like that's going to be a lot more commonplace in the future as compared to where we have it now with these giant tech monopolies just owning a lot of this data and a lot of these APIs.
So with when you met with the team with Silencio team, what do you guys talk about?
Oh, I basically just tried to fish a bunch of alpha out of them. So it wasn't the whole team, unfortunately. It was just Eric. He's one of the co-founders. He's a great guy, though. He hooked me up with a Silencio hat, which was great. He brought like 5 with him, and he's like, "This one's for you." And I have like 4 other people.
That's cool.
And I was like, "Heck yeah, it's great. It's real simple, real low key, real silent,
Yeah.
Nice. I love it. I'm gonna wear it in my next Silencio video, so you'll see it there. But it was really cool. We just talked a lot about like what they've accomplished so far, and just kind of like more on the lines of like where we can partner up and like what they're building. They talked about their future advertising efforts and marketing efforts with these advertisements they're filming right now, and like basically the idea around the advertisements and to get more people aware of noise pollution, because they feel that the more aware the populace is of noise pollution, the more wary they'll be of it, as well as the more aware, I guess is the right word, as with any marketing effort. And that way they'll have more people download their app and use their app. And so we talked a lot about that, and I basically took him out to Terry Black's. It's a very famous barbecue place in Austin, Texas.
Okay.
Little famous. And he was like, oh, like, he's like, yeah, we don't really have like barbecue over in Europe. And I was like, cool. I was like, we're going to a barbecue place. So we took him to a good old Texas barbecue place, and it was really good. He loved it. And he was like, oh, this is great, man. And I made sure to check in on Silencio. We were both checking in. We were like, eh.
I mean, like
great.
Texas do like crazy barbecue.
Oh,
Look,
yeah.
I've never been there, but all I see is like on TV, and when I see it, I'm like, wow.
The ribs just fall, the meat falls off. It just like literally falls off the bone. And I was like, oh, it's so good, man. So we had really good barbecue. Just talked a lot about their advertising, marketing efforts with their new ads coming out, as well as just ways we can work together and, you know, content I have planned out for them and whatnot. So it was just really neat meeting the team. I tried to go to Karate Combat with them, but I believe I think he went. Did I run into him later on? I might have run into him later on in Karate Combat, but he ended up going. He had no idea Karate Combat was happening, and I was like, hey, you want to watch a fight? And he's like, a fight? Like, there's a fight happening? And I was like, yeah, there'll be lots of noise there, dude. We gotta record all this noise there. I was like, oh god. He's like, okay, let's go. And that was a fun experience too. Was Karate Combat? That's a complete side note, but
yeah, actually, talking about Karate Combat, I've seen quite a bit. It's popping up in my my feed on my X. Like I'm like, wow. So somehow, I saw something and I just watched it and I'm like, oh, okay, now it's somehow slowly getting me into it, and I'm like, okay,
yeah, it's really cool. It's a crypto native. I think it's on Hedera, I think, and it's a completely professional fight, professional fight night. In Consensus, Joe Rogan was there. He came along with a bunch of his comedian. Yes. Yeah, it was awesome to see because there was a bunch of UFC like MMA fighters, and then there was a bunch of crypto influencers that fought as well. So that was really cool. But yeah, the Silencio team and we just talked a lot about you know what they're currently working on, kind of some future plans and whatnot. I asked them about TGE, token generation event, for those of you who don't know what that means, and they told me that, you know, they just did this, and I was like, oh, it's funny, like Silencio, I get it. But they have to wait for the Peak mainnet to come out first. So none of these Peak tokens are going to come out until Peak's mainnet launches officially and their token is released. So don't expect the TGE from them until that happens.
Yeah. I mean, they said like, you know, I've been, you know, initially they said like Q2, and I was thinking like, okay, there must be something delaying them. And then now it makes sense because obviously they had to wait until the Peak, you know, that they go to mainnet and everything else. And yeah, I mean, like, look, that's more time for me to hit my goals, I guess. So
yeah, same. I was very thankful for the delay because I was like, listen, I want to be able to rack up more noise coins and just be able to at least, you know, get myself more prepared for the token airdrop. I think it's 3%, if I'm not mistaken. It's still 3%.
Yeah, 3%. Yeah, 3% get enough. Yeah.
So and regardless, in 3%, that's still a hefty amount because I did the math, kind of like really loose math on the total market cap of noise pollution, which is like, I think the total annual data is valued at about $1 billion a year right now. And so on the low side, let's say Silencio taps into like 25% of that. That's about $250 million. So if you had a $250 million market cap of on Silencio, like let's say that's the market cap of their noise coins.
Yeah.
The SLC token. I'm not sure. Yeah. The specific name of the token is going to be. That's still a very, like, I think that means that each token's going to be valued at like it's a very broad range, but it's like 0.001 to like 0.005 or something. And I was like, that's still really good. It's like, it's still like a really good price for the token.
Yeah, exactly. And in my mind, I think I was saying like, okay, look, there's about 650 odd million noise coins out there at the moment. And I'm like, okay, they must be waiting for that 1 billion to hit. And then like, okay, boom, okay, now we are ready for TG, you know what I mean? You know, so
yeah.
So I mean, like, look, it's a really cool platform, and anyone can join, anyone can be part of it, and it's easy. You know what I mean? I think there's a KYC element. I can't even remember. I think there was is it a KYC?
CoinList. They Peak and Nadix launched their community pre-sales on the app called CoinList, which a lot of people don't like for some reason. I've never personally used it, but there is a KYC element on there. And the reason being, I talked to a lot of the Peak guys, the Peak workers there, representatives there, and they said that it's pretty much as much as I figured. They're just trying to be as compliant as possible with regulations. You know, so they're trying to be as like play by the book and be like, you know, the government's, you know, like good children, good companies, right? So they don't get, you know, scrutinized by government regulatory bodies. And I think that's the smartest way to go about it. As unpopular as that is, I think that is the way that a lot of these projects need to think and move forward with the way they go about their token generation events. Because if you're not doing that, you're going to get struck down by you know, fines and whatnot. And yeah, it's not going to be a good look for your project, and it's going to halt any progress you've made. So I think playing it safe and playing it close to the chest with your local regulatory bodies is very smart. And what that means for me as a U.S. citizen, I don't know. Like, will I even be able to claim my Silencio airdrop? I hope so. But like, would I be upset if I couldn't? I don't think so. Like, I would understand the reasons they couldn't allow U.S. citizens to do it, and they'd be really strict about it. And so that is something that I've thought about, and I'm more so inclined to be angry at my local regulators, you know, than Silencio.
Yeah, Silencio.
I'd write more angry letters to my congressman than I would to them, because I'd be like, hey, listen, like, make some damn regulations already. I'm so sick of this.
Yes, that's right. You know, I mean, I think that's something, you know, actually we hardly talk about, is that being a U.S. citizen, and then you see that line, this, you know, this is not for U.S. citizens and things like that. I'm like, oh my God, it's like 350 million people in
land
US.
of the free.
Land of free, right?
Stupid. Yeah.
You know, and I'm just thinking, like, my God, when they see that thing and then they're pushing the technology, and most of this technology really came from that country itself, and the beneficiaries are outside that country, you know? And I'm like, wow. I don't know how.
Look at the hexes map. The East Coast is covered. I'm looking at the Silencio map right now. It's covered. It's covered. And like, obviously Europe is just like sprawling. There's so many hexes mapped up there. Nigeria too. Like, but like America, there's so many. And for any of those people to be cut off would just be, you know, ridiculous in my opinion. And that's on us. That's on our regulators, not
regulators. Yeah. 100%. And alrighty. So I think we're gonna come to sort of the closing remarks of the podcast. So, Will, as always, we always ask everyone, like, okay, hey, you know, if you want to give any what we call flowers, you know, you met a few people, you built some new relationships, you know, you made some new friends, and you know, getting close to get married as well now. I mean, like, you know.
I guess the flowers I would give first off would be to you guys, like you guys doing this incredible podcast. I love having a platform and having the chance to talk about this stuff, because I feel like conversations help push these narratives forward and help people understand what these things really are. So flowers to you guys for sure. Flowers to my beautiful fiance, who is my best friend, my partner in the whole world. Like, she's just amazing, supports me through everything. And my flowers to my dogs. Of course, I love my dogs. My DePIN dog, DePIN dog. Yeah, she measures noise very well for me. I just put it on her little collar, and she walks around the backyard, and it's great. But yeah, mostly flowers to all the team at Peak. They were very, very, very welcoming, and they were very open about everything they're doing. Scott, I freaking love that man. He hooked me up a ton. He took me everywhere. I was like his little partner, his little sidekick. And he took me everywhere and just met all the people I was hoping to meet. And shout out to everyone that I met at Consensus, Banks, Atlas, Suburban, all those. Not Suburban, sorry, he didn't get to go. So sorry, Suburban. Yeah, I hope he watches this. That'd be really funny. But yeah, shout out to everyone that went to Consensus. Shout out to all my friends that took me to my bachelor party and showed me a good time after Consensus. That was great. That's pretty much all the flowers I would give, is just you know, to you guys especially, and to everyone I just mentioned before.
Awesome, mate.
Awesome. Thanks, man.
Thank you so much. Any questions from you?
No questions from me.
No. You said that you're going to get on to Silencio, man. I'm going to give you my referral code, all right?
No, take my referral code. Don't take his. Take mine. Take mine.
You know, the funny thing is, I think I used Scott's referral code. He must be doing quite well, because I'm like on so much.
Ozzy, come on, man.
Dude, I'm like this much away from a million, right? So
How do you do it? You're like way ahead of me. I need your secret. I need your secret.
it's just having a supportive wife, right? And,
Well, that's my plan is tonight. I'm going to go out. I was like, hey, let's go out and take the dogs out before we're going on a cruise next week. So we're going on a cruise to Mexico. And I was thinking to myself, like, oh, perfect. I can map in Mexico, but I actually can't because I'm on Helium Mobile and they don't service Mexico. And so I have to pay more money to roam out there. I have to pay $15 per gigabyte to roam out in Mexico. So I could do it. It's going to cost me some money, but I could get some X's out there.
it's all right. It's only deflationary money anyway. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, exactly. So I still might do it. I still might do it. But I was like, listen, we should map as much as possible and hang out with our dogs before we leave for a week, you know? And she's like, I don't know. I don't want to go out and like spend money. And I was like, I'll cover the whole thing. Don't worry. Just hold my phone and map for me. I was like, I just need you to hold my phone and you use your phone too. We'll double map and I'll get all your referral points. It'll be great.
Yeah. Yeah. What I do is like, say for example, there are 10 items on the list. I go there, I bring about 5. I'm like, oh my God, I forgot. Go back. So give me like 6 trips.
No, literally, it's honestly, it's just so, I don't know. It's funny. It's really funny.
It's fun.
And
You got stories, you know what I mean? So
it's just one of those apps that like another reason I'm so bullish on Silencio is it's just like it's one of those apps that's just fun to use. Like it gets me outside more. I get to plan out my walking trips now. Like I didn't do that before. I didn't like look at a map and say, huh, I've never been over there. I'm gonna walk my dogs over there. Like now I'm doing it. I'm like getting outside more. I have more reason to leave my den, my man cave, and go out and measure noise.
Yeah. Awesome. On that amazing note, we'll end the podcast now. And I think I had to say thank you. Not I think we definitely had to say thank you to you to come and for coming on and then like really sharing what's happening in that space, especially listening from you as well, because you have so much knowledge in the space. You get to meet a lot of people, you build these amazing relationships, and thank you, man. Really appreciate it.
I really appreciate it, dude. I love coming on these podcasts because again, you guys are so welcoming, and I love being able to share, again, having a platform and share my knowledge with people and just like again, help everyone to win. So thank you guys, seriously. I'm excited for next time.
100%. Cool. Awesome, Will.
Perfect. Thank you, guys.